welcome everyone to our chat about wealth creation. There's a saying that money cannot buy happiness, but it can sure provide a sense of security and the freedom to do the things that we love. And as you may know, financial well being is one of the five essential elements of a human well being. Unfortunately, Latina women have the lowest earning power in the United States, and that has to change. And that's why we think it's important to have these type of conversations. So we hope that by the end of this we hope you are empowered, you are inspired, and you are eager to pursue your financial well-being. So today we have two powerhouses in the room. Welcome, Selena and Sandy. Thank you so much for joining us today. But before we start with the presentations, with the introductions, I need to tell you that there's a financial disclaimer. I need to mention that every investment or financial opinion that we are expressing here in this session, it's not a recommendation. So it's only educational material for your growth. So please do your own research before making any type of investment. So hi, Sandy and Selena, welcome. Sandy, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your journey and why this topic is important for you?
Sure. Thank you so much for the invitation and for having me here. Hello, everyone. My name is Sandy Martinez. I'm the founder and CEO of Strive Studio Career Coaching and Consulting. I support women of color to thrive in their careers. And then I also do consulting. So I focus on assisting organizations with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and now Web3 advising. I am an education advocate with experience in higher education for almost 2 decades. I do believe that education is a very powerful tool to empower others. And so therefore, I'm also a community builder, Hispanic and Latino advocate. I'm a motivational speaker. And really my why is connecting others with opportunities and making a difference in people's lives. So for me, it's so important to give back to first generation students, to Sun Devils like me, and immigrants. Right, Selena. I'm the proud Jarritos Web3 advisor for education and community relations. I'm also a radio show host for Web3 Al Aire to educate our Spanish-speaking community about Web3 and NFTs. And I'm an engaged board member of Young and Empowered Women's Association, as well as United Latinas, elevating women across the nation and beyond. And this topic is super important and very dear to my heart because I transitioned into this industry last February, and my life has changed exponentially, not only learning about all of the benefits and utility that blockchain technology offers us, as well as these digital assets, but it's really important for us as Latinas to have tools that help us create generational wealth, have investments that give us benefits that make our lives better. And I'll share a little bit more as the conversation continues, but that's a little bit about me. And I'm excited to share more about what I know about this industry.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing. Selena, please share us about your journey and why this topic is important for you.
Oh my God, after that introduction about Sandy, I feel like I don't have anything to say about myself. That was great, Sandy.
Sure
it's a pleasure to be. I'm super happy to be with all of you here. I'm Selena Nogueras. I'm a purpose-driven Latina. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a branding agency called Moa Design. I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I didn't study anything related to business, so I carved my way into an entrepreneurial world. With a lot of sweat and pain and tears. Right now, I do have $1 million business, so I'm really proud of that. I had as a Latina, and most of you probably had a very difficult relationship with money. And I struggled with money a lot, even though I was an entrepreneur. I struggled in my personal relation with money. I was in a lot of debt. And there was like a turning moment when I decided that I have like this aha moment where I was in need of, I had a car accident. I was in need of renting a car, and I didn't have the money to rent the car because I didn't have enough money on the credit card for the insurance. So, and I had to call my boyfriend's parent I was dating him like for 6 months now, and he was the one that came to give me a credit card because I cannot count economically with my family. So in that moment, I decided that I needed to turn my relationship around with money. So I start doing it. And in the journey, I start feeling the need to communicate that with other women, because sometimes as either as an entrepreneur or dealing with money, you feel really very alone, because I always said that the friends that got you here, they won't get you there. So probably the people that surround us either really are not in the confidence to talk about money with, or not the right people to talk about it. So I started a movement. First it was a podcast. Now it's a movement and a membership program. It's called Jefas y Jevas. For the ones of you that are not Latinas or are not Latinas from the Caribbean, Jevas is like babes. So it's like bosses and babes in a way. And it started with the podcast. I was interviewing, I interview mostly Latinas with business that earn and had revenues in the millions. So it's great to see that women, we've done it, we've been doing it, and to put those stories on the limelight, to put the stories out there, because when we get to know the stories, is that we feel empowered that we can do it as well. So at the beginning in 2019, I started as a podcast. I have more than 100 episodes that you can check out on your favorite platform, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. But then last year, precisely because I wanted to help more Latinas to grow their financial freedom. So I started a membership program, Jefas y Jevas membership program. You can look it in our webpage. And I've been helping since hundreds of women, either in their business or their personal finances. And my big hairy idea, my big goal is to impact 1 million women, Latinas, to get financial independence before their 60s. So yeah, thanks
Well,
for
thank
having
you.
me.
Of course, thank you, Selena. Your podcasts are amazing. I have listened to them. So I start with a kind of a sad statement. I said that Latina women are the demographics with the lowest earning power in the United States, less than white, Black, Native American. We're trying to turn the tide here. So before we start, we discuss solutions and innovative ideas. I would like to ask you, both of you, or Selena, you could start. What do you think are specific characteristics or maybe limiting belief that we all share as a demographic that have led us to this situation? What are these common misconceptions Latina has about money?
I think we're super hardworking. I want to start with the positive assets. We're super hardworking, and we care a lot about our family. It could be the kids that we have, or our current family, or our parents. So we are caregivers. So in that sense, we grew up thinking of ourselves as caregivers, but the bread giving part of it, it came like it's a necessity. We didn't have the tools, and our families didn't talk about money. And when they did, most of the cases, it was about poverty. It was about what we didn't have. It was about what we couldn't afford. So I think that what we're like, we have a lot of desire, hardworking fire, but at the same time, we have a lot of fears. We have a lot of we don't have a lot of knowledge. So we need to become knowledgeable, because the other part, we have it. So if we have the combination of knowledge and all this passion and all this caregiving sense inside of us, we could change and transform our reality. But the case is that in business, usually we don't come from a business background. We're just there because we had a necessity, and we need to react quick. So that sense of I call it like that sense of that there's a cliff in front of you and you need to react and you're not gonna fall, is one of our main assets. But at the same time, we don't come from a educated background in business. So in the business side, that's a negative part that we need to overcome. And in the
I
personal side, and in the last one is that in the personal side, then we don't have the education. We are afraid to open our bank accounts. We don't want, we say no money, either my father or my husband or the accountant, somebody else deals with that. I'm not good with numbers, and they get very nervous. So we need to understand that well, and obviously education is power. And when we educate ourselves, we can get ahead of the curve and turn the tide.
Of course. And then you said that you interview these super successful women on your podcast. What have you seen they have in common?
As I'm telling you, a lot of passion. Latinas, we are fearless. We in a way, we know that we need to survive, and I think one of the most for me, it's a great skill that I call it, that I have in Spanish, que tengo fuego por dentro, no? A sense of urgency. They have fire. They want to figure things out. So those are like the good characteristics that if we're in the situation, we deal with it however we need to do it.
That's right. Thank you. So now, Sandy, I have a question for you. Let's
Yes.
discuss now about non-traditional ways of investment. You say that you educate the Spanish-speaking community on blockchain and Web3 and NFT. Please educate us. Tell us about your experience, and yeah, teach us.
Yeah, I mean, this Web3 and NFT industry, it's revolutionary, it's super innovative, and we already see it impacting our daily lives. I mean, NFTs are no longer digital assets. They offer us many opportunities like fractionalized ownership, distribution of wealth, exclusive experiences, and they really represent real world objects. So they're no longer just art. Now it's music, it's game items, it's videos, as well as homes. So these NFT assets in the digital world can be bought and sold with cryptocurrencies and their transactions on the blockchain, which is like a digital transparent ledger that keeps everything secure and decentralized. And so this industry also includes Web3, which is the next iteration of the internet, where we have more immersive experiences through the metaverse or cyberspaces where we can interact socially or economically as digital figures. So it's definitely revolutionary, like I said. On my radio show, I always have an education segment because it's important to know the verbiage, the jargon, the important terms, and different areas of the industry. So I focus on discussing relevant and relatable news. I also always have a special guest that's making an impact in the industry, are doing remarkable things, and they speak Spanish, so people can relate to them. And so I've had project founders, I've had professional soccer players, because they're even using NFTs to run soccer teams, Web3 attorneys, graphic designers, Web3 real estate agents, photographers, people in the financial sector and fiscal affairs, Web3 advisors. I mean, so for me, my goal is for our community not to stay behind. We're always the last ones to enter the industry. We're always the last ones to entering the technology. When the internet started, it took a long time for our households to have computers, to be really immersed in that technology. So I'm highly committed to making sure that everything's in Spanish, because that's one thing that I noticed is that our Spanish-speaking investors, when I entered this space, they were having a very hard time understanding what was happening with their NFTs. And so I started translating things for them. So even when I entered, I'm an educated Latina. I have a graduate degree and I worked in higher education, various leadership roles, and I was even struggling. So I was like, can you just imagine like how other people are going to struggle? So there's economical, there's language, and there's educational barriers that exist. And so that's the commitment that I have with my radio show and everything else that I do in the industry, to make sure that I'm building genuine relationships and I'm connecting others to opportunities. So.
So for the audience, if they are interested in getting involved in your industry, what advice would you give? What are the steps?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone interested in joining the industry, I would say that you need a couple of things. So one, follow me. Listen to my radio show, follow me. I'll drop my link. Oh, the link tree was just dropped, so thank you for that, Luz Elena. The thing too is to understand that there's a couple of things, like you need a Twitter, you need a digital wallet, you need a MetaMask, which is a digital wallet, it's the most common one. You need a Discord, which is a communication platform that's heavily used by projects. I also encourage you to navigate to Twitter, because there's a lot of Twitter spaces that are on various topics, but the ones you should look out for are the ones in your preferred language, whether it's English or Spanish, that talk about Web3 and different updates and what's happening. For me, I am the voice of the Jarritos Twitter spaces. So, if we have any, I always share them on my page, but, definitely follow people that are in the industry and take a moment to interact and learn about it. There is so much to learn, but the good thing is that we're not late. This technology, nobody's an expert. I still have so much to learn. I've been in the industry, like I said, for about a year, and every day I'm learning something new. But you're not alone, but it is so important that we have representation. It is so important that we join now, that we start educating ourselves about it, because the opportunities are endless, and it's impacting the way we give back, the way we have experiences. For example, with Jarritos, the benefits or utilities of our NFT is to provide our holders, our investors, unique experiences. So we host VIP events where they have access to other NFT projects that are very notable and prominent, and so they get to build their network. And think about it, it's a community of talented individuals from all over the world. So it's super important that we have representation for our Latino community, and be part of this new digital landscape that is affecting our daily lives, that will continue to evolve and affect our daily lives.
I want to stretch, Sandy, that you said that to interact, and that is a very important. It shouldn't be underlooked.
Right.
Interaction is like nowadays, for example, like we're on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and it's really easy. It's much more easy now to interact with possible mentors, interact with people that you admire, to interact directly with experts. And I still wonder, people sometimes are so shy. Like, and I always ask, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that they don't answer. But usually, like, we love to engage, we love to teach, we love to encourage people to take a different path. So I think it's very important that Sandy, the thing about and in particular in Twitter and in those projects, obviously you need to be engaging, you need to asking questions, you need to follow the people, you take advantage of the people out there that know more than you and ask the questions.
And on that's a very good point, and I'm glad that you're bringing it up, because even as I'm sharing today's event, you all have like 1,600 followers, and nobody's liking any of the pictures, so some of you are not present. So definitely go and take a look. But Twitter Spaces, they're public, anybody can join, and so you don't have to be a speaker, you can just listen in. And if you ever want to experience it and you're like, Sandy, like, I don't want it to be a public space or anything, and I'm happy to jump on there. Like, every time that I do host a space, whether it's for Jarritos or another initiative that I'm working on, I will meet with my guest speakers ahead of time, and I'll do a pre-party. I call it a pre-party and I show them how it works. So I'm always open for that. And you're right. It's just so important, Selena, like you said, not to be shy, because that's how I grew my network. When I was translating everything for the investors I was working with, I wanted to make sure that they knew other Latinos in the space. So that pushed me to go and to these other Latino Twitter spaces and then bring them to my Twitter spaces that I was doing. And you're going to find that a lot of people are super helpful. They've been through it and they want to contribute to your success and your growth in the industry. So it's definitely a very powerful industry where we're present as Latinos. We're there, you know, and if you want recommendations on who to follow or anything like that, I'm here and I'm more than happy to help you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely is super important and powerful to build a community, to don't be shy to ask questions. You both are experts on building community in your different fields. So why don't you tell us now what exciting projects you have coming up?
Oh my goodness. I'll go first. You know, I'm an education advocate. You know, while I was at Arizona State University, I was super embedded with mentoring students and staff and faculty and building legacy programs for their success. And so I am working with the leadership from NFT Phoenix and NFT Charlotte on a university initiative we're gonna have activations at 6 universities. It's called Y3 Takeover. So we're already working on that. Of course, we'll be at ASU in October. So that's one thing that we're doing. And I do want to highlight something. So President Biden signed last December the Consolidated Appropriation Act into law. So they're funding $500 million for the Tech Hubs program. So you have to partner with the university, a tech, and a nonprofit, and you get to be eligible for this funding. So that's how we're going to make this happen. And then I'm also always all about empowering women, especially our women of color. So you know, we're 10% of the workforce being female in Web3 and NFTs. And so I'm co-leading a panel with my dear friend Cindy Kuhn titled Women in the Web3 Space, Reducing Inequalities Through the Digital and Technological Opportunities, with the United Nations. So I get to put together a session to highlight 16 plus women with the United Nations. And of course, I'm including the majority Latinas that are doing extraordinary things. So I get to do that. Again, I'm still building the Latino network that I have and being super embedded in the ecosystem. So I'm working with the artist Lucia Diaz to make sure that we feature 100 Latino artists at the World Trade Center for Hispanic Heritage Month. So if you know of any Web3 artists or artists, you know, that has digital collectibles, make sure, you know, to reach out to me. I'm happy to put in a good word to have them included. And then I'm also at the beginning phases of my social impact project Strive to provide funding for one orphanage in Colombia, one in Mexico, one in Puerto Rico, to make sure that they have their basic needs met and to raise money to support the technology for them to enter Web3, as well as provide scholarships for women to enter in the space, either to run the project or to be able to attend Web3 conferences. So that's what I have, along with, you know, of course, working with Web3 advising and with Jarritos.
Congratulations. You have a lot going on. You're doing amazing. I'm very proud of you.
Anna. Thank you.
I'm going to send you some recommendations of some artists working on Web3 from Puerto Rico.
Thank you. I would love that.
Yes.
Selena, would you like to share any exciting projects coming up?
Well, on my end, I've been very busy with the Jefas y Jevas membership program. I'm right now creating, I have a savings challenge, like a personal finance educational module. And I'm working right now on the investment module. One of the things we were talking when we have our happy hour before the project, before this meeting, how's that you call it, Sandy? When you pre-interview your guests?
Oh, pre-parties.
Pre-party. We had our pre-party, and we talk about our projects. So right now I'm doing we work in different types of investing techniques or encouragements. I work more on traditional real estate, stock market, IRAs and so forth, like more traditional investment techniques. So I'm creating a workshop for that, like a 5 modules workshop, and that's coming out in the next quarter. And obviously, remember that I have to work on MOA design agency, my branding agency. To obviously, we're working on scaling it up, and we're opening a business line of architecture. So we are working towards scaling that up. And this is our 15th. We're gonna have our 15th birthday this year
Wow.
and
Congrats.
next quarter. So we're gonna start celebrating and doing events. About rebranding and educating the community and our clients about rebranding techniques and etc. So yeah, we've
Amazing.
been keeping ourselves busy.
A lot on your plate, yes. So, question for both. What is an actionable step our audience can make today to start creating more wealth in their lives?
I'll have Celia go.
I guess, yeah. What I it depends on what phase of your life or how much money you have saved or how much investments. But if you don't have any, I'm gonna assume, let's say to start with, that you don't have anything or other than a 401k probably. If a few of you probably do work in environments with 401ks, but you need to have first your savings. I do have a lot of pockets on savings accounts. I have what it's called emergency fund. That's between $1,000 and $5,000. And I use that for emergency. And I have it in a very easy to reach bank account, usually connected with my checkings account. I do have a safety fund that is 6 months of my income or my expenses. And I have that on a high yield account. One of the things right now is that if you are a low risk user or you want to create a little bit of money, but you are not investing right now, this is the moment to get high yields accounts or the CDs. And then I have buckets to travel, and I have buckets to invest, and I have buckets for retirement. So I do have like 5 accounts. And the one for investing is money that I put there in order to invest in the future. Right now, for example, I am focused on investing on a real estate property. So I'm putting all my savings in that bucket right now, so I can, when the moment is right and the property comes, I can make the commitment. So I think it's preparing yourself. The other thing that changed my life, and it's very easy, but it amazed me how many of us don't do it, is to understand how much money we need to retire.
Mhm.
Most of us, we don't know. It's very easy to calculate the money that we need. Sometimes we don't even think about that. We don't think about how much when I ask on my workshops, how much do you want to earn a year when you retire, people like they don't really know the answer and need to make like calculations, and they are very confused with the question. So that is very important because it's like you need to start from there to the present. You need to know with how much money you want to retire in order to make a plan, in order to see if what you're saving is enough. A lot of people, when I do the mentorships, they come to me and they say, oh no, but I have a retirement, I have a 401k. Yeah, but do you know where is that 401k where the money is? Do you know how much money you're going to have in 10, 15, 20 years? Do you know if that's enough money, or that is just one end and one of your investments, but you need to have a few of them. So I think that we need to know what's our number, when do we want to retire, in order to start deciding how aggressive we're gonna be with our investments. For example, in my case, I have my preferred investment is, or the one that I have more money right now, is on the stock market. But after I had a certain amount of money, then I felt that I was more free to put money in art investing, in startup businesses, or in crypto. Like sometimes, like you decide, it's really important to diversify, but sometimes you choose one investment as your preferred one, and then depending on your risk levels, and after you choose that, then you can diversify in some others, because it's not always very good to know that you should not put all your investment on the same basket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a
So-
lot more to add, but I would say have a budget, like you mentioned, there's real estate opportunities. Now there's, crypto and NFT opportunities. Definitely learn about stocks. My biggest recommendation would be for you to be open to learning. Read books and take courses about the different types of investments that are available for you. There's, so much opportunity there for us to learn on how to best way to invest our money and think about, like she said, where are you going to retire? When are you going to retire and things like that. So very important to be diverse in your investments and think about your future.
Thank you. Yes, my 2 cents is get educated. There's so much information, podcast, talk to a financial advisor, ask questions. There's so much information out there. I don't
For
know
sure.
if anybody has questions in the audience. Do you
No,
want to ask
let
directly?
me before the questions, in that specific sense, I want to share exactly how I start, because I told you at the beginning that I was like in a lot of debt and I didn't have a good relationship with the money. So I start paying my debts, and then I start saving. But when I start saving, I start saying, but what do I do now with these savings? Like, I didn't knew what to do or where to go. So in my case, I'm a self-taught investor for different reasons. First, I start like reading like a maniac, reading books, obviously from the best, the best investment books. I read them. I listen to podcasts. I listen every morning to Financial Times. I see every morning the Bloomberg News, and even in the evenings. So I start doing that. But my turning point as well, it was when I had I interview for the podcast. I interview a financial advisor. So after my interview, I asked her for a meeting to see how were my investments and my portfolio and what did she thought of it. And she made me like the basic questions: how much money you want to retire, when do you want to retire, how much do you earn. So I told her, I answered that, and she told me, so in order to have the amount of money you want to retire, you need to save all your income. And basically she hung up. And I felt so frustrated. I felt so alone. I felt so powerless. But as a Latina, I say, no. This is not gonna happen to me. I'm gonna change this reality. I'm gonna prove her wrong. And I think that's, I don't know if everybody have that, but I do have, when I have like somebody put a rock on my truck, una piedra en el camino, like I felt like no. I'm gonna change that reality. So that's when I became obsessed with that. And I start doing things and changing and became more aggressive investing, because I knew, okay, if I keep doing like a conservative strategy, I'm not gonna do it. But there are things that you can change. You can find other sources of income. You can invest in real estate. You can flip houses. You can, in order to start, that doesn't depend exclusively on, oh, I have this income, so yeah, like, sorry, Selena, you're not gonna make it. So those are the things that I love to teach, because we can change our reality. We cannot sit and be quiet if somebody told you, no, that's a reality, so sorry for you. We can change that, and we need to change it, and we need to be surrounded of people who change that reality for us.
Yes, I like that, Selena, that you didn't accept their recommendations and you went and did your own research. Sometimes that even happens with doctors, right? You go to the doctor, they give you their suggestion of what you're supposed to do, and you're like, no, I'm gonna do my own research. I'm gonna advocate, and I'm just gonna find my answers. So I'm glad you did that. And I think our time is up, unfortunately. This was amazing. Thank you so much for all the knowledge that you shared here. It's really admirable what you're doing for the community. What's the best way to connect with you? Can the audience send you a request on LinkedIn, follow you on the Instagram? I think we're putting on the chat information about your LinkedIn.
Yes.
Is that the best way? Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
in my case, I communicate easier through Instagram. You can follow me, my personal Instagram, Selena Nogueras, or Jefas y Jevas as well. I answer both of them. And also you can go to jefasyjevas.com, and obviously LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is the one that I see the least. So
Okay.
I'm more into that Instagram all the way. And you can chat with me and make me questions, and I will answer them with a
And
lot of pleasure.
I'm on all
Thank you.
platforms. I drop my LinkedIn. On Twitter, you can find me as sandymartinez.eth, officially Web3 style. But yeah, I'm pretty active on all social medias, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, I even have to use Telegram because some Web3 people use Telegram and WhatsApp.
Perfect.